Can you guys hear me? Sweet. All right. So we got market close coming up. We'll go through just the market view scan real quick. See what we got going on. Himini still bobbing around. It's not anything I'm going to touch today, or probably for a while. Most likely just a short here for now. I mean, it could get crowded and squeeze a little bit, but you have to remember you have these financings like looming overhead. There's not going to be too much opportunity to profit to the long side, if any. They're going to be dumping into any volume moves for the most part, and yeah, no bueno. TORC holding up. Actually, it bounced pretty much exactly where I was hoping it would go to and bounce. It was midday. I wasn't there. So I missed this. I think Mike hit it, which is pretty sweet. But kind of like in the morning webinar, I was saying during this fade, you know, I mean, it was down a ton. It did get down to 14 bucks and got a nice bounce to 16. It's a lowish float. It's doing great volume. It's got a good catalyst. Obviously, it just got way overextended on low volume pre-market and wasn't able to recover from that. So, so when I'm seeing this kind of morning fader going into midday, okay, it is something I kind of will leave alone for the most part. I mean, you did get a two point bounce here, 14 to 16. You know, right around 11 o'clock, but that's also kind of going into midday. Like I said, it's this is something you want to see develop a little bit more for my taste. It's a tough one. I mean, the chart kind of tells the story. You did get the $2 bounce, but going into midday when it failed to get back up there, there was kind of a midday panic, like right before lunchtime. You can see right before noon. So you really do have to be careful buying in this period leading up to midday even. 1 second. That period is pretty dangerous as well because there can be lunchtime sell-offs. You know, going into lunch. Sometimes there will be squeezes. Maybe there'll be a bunch of shorts kind of exiting their position going into lunch. But you got to be careful around this time frame. And it got down to 13 bucks, and that's kind of what I was looking at for a buy point, just based on strict technical analysis on the daily chart. We're not on the chart right now, but let me get to the chart. Sorry, guys. There's the chart. So I did that again. I got to make sure to be on the charts. You guys got to remind me in there. Yeah, so here's the fade I was speaking about. Here's the perk to 16. And then here's going into lunchtime right here, 15 minutes before noon. You got another crack. That's all the bounce buyers, all the dip buyers, people who were trying to maybe get in on higher lows here. And then it kept starting to grind up. But, it was kind of in an uptrend. So it did look like it kind of just broke down from the uptrend and then continued to break down when it broke down beyond 14 bucks or so, 13.75. Here's the 13 level I was talking about. Mike got in. What was your entry, Mike? And here's the daily chart. This is why I was looking at this level. You had a double top here in the high 12s, and I figured that may act as a bounce level. So not necessarily like long-term play, but this may hold. This 13 mark may hold. Like I said, it was midday, so I missed it, and I'm not going to really chase it beyond here for now. Little bit of a chase at 13.30. 13.30 is not bad, though. 13.30 is not bad. I mean, yeah, I don't see it as being a bad entry. I still would have been buying it at 13.30 too. It's not, you don't have to be in at the exact bottom. I would just kind of moderate my size based on that knowledge that low is going to be in the high 12s that I have to risk off of. So that's TORC. I think there may be some more bounce left in it. It's down so much. I mean, it's down from 27 bucks. Daily chart would say this should act as some support in this zone right here, and maybe it starts basing now here in the 13s and 14s, and then makes another move. That'd be something I'd be interested in. So quickly, my take on like pre-market support levels, I mean, they are there, but it's just kind of noise for the most part if you look at volume-wise. That being said, it was doing good it did good after-hours volume yesterday, or pre-market volume. But it's one of those things. It's like when a stock goes pre-market from, 9 bucks to 27 bucks, what do you do with that? I mean, you kind of wait for this. We'll see. It's, this price will settle somewhere. 16 acted as some resistance earlier, so we'll see if it can get back up there. 13 bucks basically acted as support, so we'll see how it reacts if it gets back down there. Or maybe it continues to set higher lows. But I'm probably not going to touch it. But if you caught any of those bounces, I mean, the 13 to the 14 to 16 bounce, or the 13 to 1450 and now 1470. Good for you. That's awesome. That's something I would play. One second, guys. All right, sorry guys. For the recordings, I can just post the recordings on the chat. All right. So we got Torque pushing 15 bucks now from 13, $2 bounce there. That's pretty nice. 5-minute chart. I mean, anytime I'm seeing action like this where it's just 5-minute red candle after red candle, I am usually, you're able to catch bounces in these kind of circumstances. Same here. Specifically if you go like to the daily chart and see a level that you can use, like 13 bucks. So that's that. I'm not going to touch it. V-Ray still holding up. Like I said, not something I really wanted to chase. But it is holding up near its highs. Maybe get a day 2 tomorrow. Maybe not. Maybe get like a week open red-green move. I don't know. No real opinion. It's strong. It's holding VWAP. It's done good volume. Really good volume. What else? We got AWX. I didn't see any news on AWX, but it looks like it had this kind of parabolic move with some halts today. Pretty crazy. Wouldn't really expect that. And now it's pushing on to new highs. That's pretty cool. All right, guys. Sorry about that interruption again. It's okay, though. Let's kick on. So Tinker Baker said, yeah, interesting 5-minute red candle after it means a bounce is coming. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to come. So that's why it's really important, and this is a great example. I mean, it doesn't have to come, Like, you could think that this is the bounce, get faked out really easily. But in general, stocks do not go straight down and straight up. There usually has to be some sort of consolidation, some sort of indecision, and then a move onward or back the other way. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of these things. Like, this is a really strong down move. You get a couple dollar retracement, some consolidation, and then it decided to continue going down. But really, in context of this, it only went down another point. So this could be some actual serious bottoming action. It held 14 then again. So I mean, you look at different time frames, it'll show you different stuff. The 30-minute time frame. Look at all of them. Really clear reversal in the 30-minute time frame here, and now it's been climbing for 2 hours basically. It is interesting, but multiple time frames is like one of the most important things I think I can emphasize when you're evaluating a trade as well. I don't talk about it enough, but it's something that I do. Um, this 1 minute chart is noisy. There's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of levels here. As you move the time frame. Sorry, as you move to longer time periods, there's a little bit less noise. Well, a lot less noise. The levels become more defined. 14 level, 13 level, 16 here. VWAP's obviously at 1530 right now, and so we'll see if it's able to reclaim. $15-minute, pretty clear. 13, 14, 15, 16. I mean, this is like any other like higher price stock at this point, where the half and whole dollar marks are very important. And yeah, I love looking through different time periods, especially if this move would go on for, another couple days and we see some consolidation here. You'll be able to get some really clear defined levels, like on the longer time frames. Like it's just way easier. It's so easy to get sucked into the 1 minute time period. That's what most traders start trading, and then you just kind of trade these 1 minute charts. But they're too noisy for me. Even volume wise, like when you switch to like a 5 minute or 15-minute chart, I don't have the volume up there, but it can be very eye-opening. David, say what I say, the bigger money guys are in the bigger time frames. Yeah, I mean, it depends. There are some traders who trade with size who trade like, the 1 minute time frame. I mean, like people like Tim Grittani or Dux, or some of the other big short sellers, even like Nate Michaud over at Investors Underground. Yeah, they're trading 1 minute time frames, but they're most of them are aware at least of some of the bigger time frames, or will at least some multiple times a day go through and check out what the chart's doing. But I do know what you mean. Yeah, like there aren't many hedge funds, if any. Maybe there are some, but it's not really. It's known that there aren't many that trade stocks under $5. A good soccer teammate from college is a pretty high-ranking financial advisor over at Merrill Lynch now, and he said he's not allowed to touch stocks under $5 for his clients. So that's one part, but yeah, I think above that, and when you get into some of the higher price stocks, they're definitely playing bigger time frames. Even like the hour, 4 hour, whatever it is, people are, and they trade differently. Now, if you're day trading, you got to be careful. If you're trying to day trade 1 minute, you got to live by the 1 minute in terms of entries and exits, like in the moment. You do have to be very aware of the 1 minute, especially like a low float stock that's moving quickly. Levels can form and then evaporate super quick. If you get a parabolic spike, it'll blast through levels and then pull back super hard. So generally, day one, at the end of the day, I will look at that bigger time frame. This is day one on TORC. I'm looking at a bigger time frame right now, just to get a better picture of what exactly I'm seeing in the 1 minute chart, right? But you got to be aware of the 1 minute chart, because it can be important. It's very important. I still, when I'm taking an entry, I'm still watching the 1 minute chart for the most part. 1 second, guys. All right, sorry, there's quite a few interruptions today. So there's TORC. Yes, big multiple time frames, super important. Just like anything, just like figuring out what the catalyst is, if there's one, the float size, the filings, the daily chart, like, the market conditions, the same things we talk about over and over and over and over and over again. It's all important, it's all important. There are a lot of people who, for a while I did, but there are a lot of people who trade strictly the 5-minute time frame, which I've done in the past with some good success. There are a lot of 5-minute chart setups. So right now, same process as yesterday, looking through tickers. Don't see too much that piques my interest right now, same as yesterday. We'll just get to some questions. Fire some questions away, and we'll try to answer them for you. But for now, I'm watching. If anything's interesting, I'll holler. But if I'm quiet, it's just because there's nothing going on. I'm also handling some other business here on the side, so sorry. Tango's asking about first green day pattern on INNT. Not something I saw. Yeah, so this is a little bit different because this is a gap down and then a first green day. So yeah, I mean, technically, you know, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red days in a row, dropping from 20 to $5. I mean, that's a big drop. I don't know what caused this, which does make a difference. You know, what caused the drop does make a difference on whether or not this can bounce and how far. But yeah, it's something I would explore that first green day for sure, 100%. I wouldn't really necessarily be chasing it, but again, I'm not sure what caused the gap down, so I can't say. But a nice spike into to the close yesterday for its first green day. You know, I mean, this is the pattern. This is the pattern and we've seen them a couple times. 13 million share offering. Okay, so it's an offering, which it will do that to the stock. You know, it's going to do that. But that being said, first green day, I would have played it had I seen it in the afternoon, which I didn't. I mean, this spiked right into close. But this is one of those things where if you're buying maybe high a day break going into close with volume, yeah, you know, I mean, if you're getting an average in the 620s, 630s, then it's a good way to go. It's a first, you know, it is a first green day, and you did get a spike this morning to 750 that you could have played into. But yeah, absolutely, first green day. It's just a little bit different. Normally, I'm looking for a spike, then pull, consolidation, and then first green day. This is quite the opposite. But like I said before, any chart you see that's just down, 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 there will eventually be some upside for the most part. It's not always. Yeah, same, kind of similar to PED. There have been a couple other ones that have had some first green days recently that you've been able to take a little bit from. So, but first green day is always good. You know, it always increases your odds of follow up the next day. You know, if it's day 2, day 3, then the odds get exponentially smaller that you're going to get another green day. So if you're long, you want a green day. How would I risk on a late day buy on a chart like INNT? So like INNT, for example, this is tough. But you know, had I been buying it, it would have been pretty much break a high day. That's the only thing you can really do here, unless unless you have an eye on it already and you're watching it. And then maybe when it reclaimed VWAP into the afternoon, like right going into power hour. But risk-wise, I mean, that's tough. You know, you got like 50 cents of risk if you're risking down like 575 or something like that. I don't know. Let's get to the 5-minute. Yeah, I mean, maybe 575, 675. Sorry, hold on. Yesterday. 575, I would say, or even 565. So like that is kind of tough. For me on a play like this, if I'm buying a high day break, I actually will, if there's no solid consolidation beneath me, just cut it pretty quickly if it goes against me. That's all. If I'm trying to buy an end of day high day break and it's not working, I'll cut it real quick. You know, you don't necessarily have to be right and hold it until 575, and then if it breaks down beyond that, then take a big loss. You don't want to do that. So it's, there's a fine line there. But for me, it's, it is a matter of on a situation like this, being very nimble, ready to cut. It's not a positional trade where I'm like, okay, I can buy here on a high or low and then have really define 10 cents of risk. Your theory is you're going to get a first green day and then spike the next day. If you're not getting that, there's no point in staying because you could just be buying a top at that point. So. Yeah, basically, Nevi. My pre-market scan 50K, intraday, yeah, 3 mil or so. But I run the 50K scan all day anyways. Then I filter for, yeah, that's basically the gist of my filters. I do have a couple other scans that I use that we'll get into, which I just not opening today. Um, and that's only because I have one screen that's down today. But generally, I do have a couple scans where I do filter out, a little bit higher volume, and I filter out a bunch of different stock types. But all of that stuff I end up seeing in my other scans anyway, so no problem, Mike. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's something I would play, Can't say I wouldn't. But you just got to kind of keep your expectations in line. We've had no real like parabolic. So if you're getting your point right now, if you're getting a point out of anything, like take it. You know what I mean? If you're getting 50 cents out of anything, take it. Only took Mike a year to find a teacher. Yeah, no problem, dude. I've spoken to maybe some of you. I don't know if I've done it in this, but like the way I break down trades is like very positional or kind of momentum. So like first green day to me is more of a momentum trade. Like you're hoping that the momentum is picking up back the other way, and you're going to be able to catch a little bit the next day. That's it. First green day, buying end of day, which we've seen many times. PED did this. A lot of stocks will do this. The key to this for me, like INNT, is like basically if you're buying a high day break, it's a momentum thing, and if it fails, just get out. No big deal. You don't have very clear good risk reward, so you just got to get out if it goes against you. That's the only way you can stay safe in situations like this. That being said, you could have taken profits right into the close. You got like a 80-cent spike there. So you could have taken maybe half your position off into close. Obviously, if you're under PDT, you may not want to, but you'd still want to anyways, in my opinion, as long as you have the ability. Then you could have held some into the next day. So that would have been kind of my strategy going into that. Easy to say in hindsight, but I do know if I were to have been buying this breakout and it didn't work, I just would have cut it, took it right off the table. And you've got to stay safe. That's all there is to it. If you're like, where do I risk? Where do I risk? Just don't let the trade go against you. That's all. That's all I have to say. Questions. I'm going to refill my coffee quickly. And so let's just get some questions in. I'll answer them right when I get back. A couple minutes, 5 minutes. All right, we back. So Nippy said an INT would buy above view app if it's holding on volume either morning or end of day, maybe add on 6 break. Yeah, I mean that's something that you could absolutely have done as well, and I may have done had I been into this one. Truth is, I am not very engaged right now, just in general. I got the DVD pre-sale coming out this week, and on top of that, the markets are so slow. I know that I'm just going to pull back, and I know that I'm going to spend the next week and a half or 2 weeks, I know that for the last week and a half or 2 weeks, it's been slow. So I've pulled back from the trading, and that's perfectly fine to do, you know. When you're trying to get this thing, I would definitely be up in it, like be up in the markets as much as you can. And don't get me wrong, I'm still here almost all day, you know. Papa John said, what's your trading setup at your office? Can you show us or talk about what's on your screens? Yeah, so right now I'm actually down a whole 43-inch Dell. It conked out on me last week, and I don't know why. So I'm sending that in. They're going to send me a new one, which totally sucks. Like I feel very handicapped, even though I still have one 43-inch and, you know, a smaller, I think it's a 23-inch 1080p. But normally I have 2 screens. I've got my Schwab going. I've got E-Trade going. I've got, you know, a couple scans on Equity Feed going. Tomorrow I'll set up my software so I can show you guys like the entire screen. But you know, I'm watching anywhere between 5 to 8 stocks if I need to on the charts that I have up. I've got about 10 charts up here, 13 charts. But some of the real estate is being taken up for the stream, so I have, you know, my streaming software up, making sure that's all going well. We've got Discord going. I use TweetDeck for Twitter. I don't know if any of you have TweetDeck, but, and I'll put it in the chat. TweetDeck is sick. I get little pop-ups anytime I'm following tweets, and it, you know, and sometimes I actually get useful trading information there. Papa John asked, do I have multiple charts per ticker, like have at least a daily and intraday? Yes. I do have one section with just like 4 daily charts in it, so I can kind of just keep an eye on, you know, maybe my backup watches for the day, whatever it is, or maybe some stocks from last week, whatever it is. But for the most part, anytime I am on my main watches, which are 3 or 4 of them, yeah, I'll have at least the 1 minute and the daily up. Sometimes I'll throw the 1 minute 15 and daily up, you know, or 1 5 and daily. I do like to watch multiple time frames at once. I always like to have at least the daily up along with the 1 minute chart, because it allows you to keep that big picture in mind during the trade, you know. So that's super important, I think. Just, do I use STT at all? Honestly, I don't. I just don't. I was using it for charting and stuff in YouTube videos, but I haven't really been doing YouTube videos. So yeah, I haven't really been using STT at all. I don't know. I think there's still work to be done on STT, you know. I'm not going to bag on it or anything. I think it's a really good idea and good software for the most part. It's just, I just don't need it. Like, I use my Equity Feed, and I don't seem to miss anything. Whereas quite a few people using STT seem to miss quite a lot. Does Wolfpack get signed copies of your DVD? Asked Mike. We'll do like a DVD release party. Hell, we'll all get together. That'd be sick. I think most of us are on the West Coast. We got a couple East Coast guys and some Canadians. And an Italian. Can't forget Italy. Italia. Yeah, DVD golfing trip. Boom. Thinking like November for the release, for the full release of the DVD, but you guys will probably get it around September, something like that. You guys will all get a copy. And says East Coast. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If not for the DVD, we'll try to get together at least one time over the next year. That'd be cool. Vegas, guys. Let's do Vegas. Vegas, Vegas, Vegas. Sweet. Papa John just got so excited. Yeah, it's quite a bit of distraction, but it's also a fun place. We'll figure something out in the future, guys. We'll figure something out. Let's get back to trading. Let's get back to trading here. So you guys know my take right now on this market. Slow, laborious, boring, and that's all right. That's when really you're, plays like INNT, where you get a first green day. Let's discuss like GBR quickly, okay? Because GBR was kind of popping when we stopped, and it did have that's a really nice move, that 263.40, and then it was kind of creeping up, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then just kind of low volume, just shit the bed, and that's pretty much because 3 broke down. So this is a scenario, you get into midday and you get this midday consolidation, even midday VWAP claim, and this is why I just don't really like midday, and it can just fail so quickly. A couple big sellers who are trying not to lose their money. If the 3 breaks down already, and you get a 3 breakdown, and it didn't. That's just one of those things. It's not. This time of day sucks. You really, if you can help it, you just want to wait. Just wait till the last hour of the day, the last hour and a half. But GBR, so first green day, right? Dom says started as a chat pump today, which totally would make sense to me. This action and volume right here, former runner. But to me, here's the issue. You're looking for first green day. Well, this is first green day, to me, in a chart like this. And then there was no follow through. Okay, there's no follow through. There was some volume on this day. Here's another cause for concern for me is this day, 17th or whatever this is, and you kind of had a gap up, and there was some good volume too. It spiked back towards 450, 460, but that got stuffed. So the chart has consolidated and now it's still breaking down and you get a random pop. This just doesn't, this reeks fade to me. This reeks pretty much short the pop to me. Only because it's not that set pattern. Once you get a first green day and fail and consolidation and then, start getting new lows, this chart is broken again. It's not, this is not first green day compared to the move it made before. And on top of that, the sector is not hot like it was during this 4-day period. PED ran, and then, we had GBR, CEI, like those other ones, those also ran. But it's just like anything else. You get your couple days, and then it's pretty much short the pop from there on, once we've gotten weeks and weeks into it. So, plus NYSE extension as of 7/17, which makes sense. That makes sense as well. So a lot of danger here. That being said, you could have scalped the chat pump, but that's tough. So Papa John asked on plays like GBR, I wouldn't try to buy any during the midday consolidation. No. That's something I did, quite a bit last year and ended up just cutting a lot of them. So the deal with midday consolidation is like it's 50-50. You know what I mean? You get a channel, it's either going to break down beyond 3 or it's going to break out above like 320. So or 315, I'm sorry. So it is kind of a gamble. So if you're risking 3 and then you have to cut when 3 breaks, okay, not a big deal, in my opinion. But if it is midday, you have to understand that that's what you're doing. Be ready to cut and size in accordingly. You're not going to be wanting to take huge size on midday consolidation. That being said, if you want to risk 3 here, go for it. As long as you're, if your average is at like 301 or 302 and then you're cutting immediately, there may be some slippage, but this is like a 50-50 proposition. It's just don't buy the top end of this channel, then you're extending your risk even more. Obviously, this isn't a huge range that we're dealing with right here, so it's a little bit different. But midday consolidation is totally, a 50-50 proposition, in my opinion. Especially, like GBR, no catalyst. If it was a chat room pump this morning, even worse. um, and just the daily chart in general is not setting up for like real first green day action. You know, this is kind of just a dead chart pattern to me at this point. Once you get into the fade, it's just any short is usually going to get sold into and done. So Papa John lost 500. Yeah, and that's okay, dude. And that has happened to me so many times. I can't even. And I've kind of just naturally phased that out of my trading because midday consolidation buys are kind of a waste of my time. You got to sit there and watch it. You got to sit there and watch like a liquid action until it either breaks down or volume comes in and takes it back upward. Right. Once again, market conditions play a big part in that. It really depends. Sometimes there are some days, like, and with the appropriate catalyst, I'll definitely do buy more midday consolidation. So in general, Mike's asking, so in general, an ABCD pattern, much less odds of working out with no catalyst. Yes. And in fact, any pattern to the upside has much less odds of working without a catalyst, period. You know, I mean, that's a fact. And that's something that you guys got to keep in mind. And that's why I really, last year I was less picky. I was also less accurate and gambling quite a bit more. And granted, a lot of the market conditions were ripe for that kind of action. And there will be times like that you will see when these low floaters get going and we're rocking and rolling again, you will see me taking different sorts of trades at different times. There are going to be times I buy midday consolidation, you know, but it's just what else is going into that trade that makes me do that, you know. That's all there is to it. There's a lot to it, but there's not a lot to it, you know. The same exact setup, ABCD, whatever it is, or buying midday consolidation, buying higher lows, exponential better chance of working with a great catalyst, you know. Especially looking for day two. Like if you're trying to get into a day two move, you know, you really better have a catalyst, or some sort of real good squeeze setup, you know, where you're approaching maybe a level on the daily or something or whatever it is, or you have some kind of great average, whatever, you know, there are going to be exceptions to everything. But for the most part, it's all about the catalyst. I've rarely seen stocks move multiple days without one. It does happen, but that's kind of rare. That usually comes from just short squeezing the hell out of each other for a couple days, you know, because they all think that it can't keep going. When I say, you know, I didn't really get it. And when I say don't trade midday, it doesn't obviously mean don't trade at all. Like don't watch, maybe if there is a trade to be had, don't take it, whatever. You know, like TORC, there were some good midday trades there today. You know, you got a couple point bounces over and over again. Or two or three good bounces. But man, it's for the most part, the volume goes away midday. So why are you going to be there? You know, you don't want to be in a situation where one big buyer, big seller can run that show. Like, you don't want to get caught up in that. But absolutely, you know, midday especially, you got to watch your size. You got to watch your size, and you got to watch chasing anything midday. If you're buying consolidation, always buy the lower end. If you're playing a trend line, always play nearer to the trend line than not, you know? That's under your control. And then you better believe, like, if it's pretty liquid and it's breaking down, you got to get out quickly because you're not going to be the only one. Could be 10 people holding like 5,000 shares, and if those 10 people decide to jump out of a stock, you're screwed. And those 10 people could all be from the same chat, you know? Questions. As of now, I'm taking nothing into tomorrow. That's just, I'm going to stay liquid as much as I can throughout this market. I took my $300 loss this morning on BTSC. I'm not going to I'm not even going to let another dollar slip away if I don't need to, you know? And that's the kind of attitude you need to have in this market, in my opinion. Not even $1, like for no reason. Unless you see an absolute killer setup, just leave it be. The chances of catching like this GBR morning spike, or most of the spikes, you know, in this market condition, are very small. So Nevius, how am I doing shorting? I'm not shorting. I'm not shorting right now. Once the DVD's out, I'm going to start shorting again. I was shorting some last year with good success. The whole DVD is long biased. It's all long strategy. It's all geared more for small accounts. And I have found it to be much more applicable if I'm practicing what I'm preaching in the DVD. So that's why I've only been going long throughout this whole process, basically, for the last 6 months. 7 months. I've been working on it for about 7 months now, since January. Man, it feels good to get a full week of webinars and trading in, though. I'll tell you that much. It's been a pain in the ass the last couple of weeks. So even though it's a slow-ass week, that's all right. I find it equally important for you guys to understand, like, this part than the hot times even. Like, the hot parts will be fun for us, man. Like, that's when we'll really get into the meat and potatoes of how I trade parabolics, which is where I've made most of my money, is catching parabolics, like catching them early, a lot of times selling too soon, but catching sweet gains, So that'll be really fun. This is boring, but it's equally important, because if you're trading exactly the same all year, every day, doing the same stuff, it's not going to work. You have to learn to moderate. You have to learn to take size when it's appropriate. And to pull back when it's appropriate. And this is no doubt a pullback period of trading right now, the last week at least, week and a half. And you guys are all smart. You know it. You guys all know it's slow. We don't have any, it's simple. We don't have any, parabolic runners. None. None, no problem. Yeah, when the markets pick up, that's the time to go hit it. That's the time to get a little bit more trigger happy, a little bit more size happy, take a little bit more risk, to try to reap some of the reward. And in these conditions, exactly what Mike said, loss after loss. And that's happened to me in the past, where market conditions like this, you're taking speculative trades, or taking midday trades, or taking trades without catalysts, and you just need the action. You're just trying to make money. And I know everyone wants to make money, but man, you got to be careful, couple $100 here and there, day after day during a market like this, and next thing you know, you're down 5 grand, for no reason other than that you had to trade when you would have been better off just sitting on your hands, which sucks so much. I want to trade. That's all I want to do. But you got to know when to pull back. Joe said on a play like BTSC was my position just based on a slow market, wanting to trade, and Bitcoin being up yesterday. Yes, completely. I'm only human. I haven't had a trade all, for a week and a half, and I'm going a little stir crazy because I am human. But, so this was the first one that met some of my criteria, You had kind of a technical breakout on an OTC. You had, but it wasn't doing like extraordinary volume, kind of just standard volume for the stock. It's just, I did want to make a trade, plain and simple. And all I was hoping for is like maybe a penny or two. Gap up. I had 90,000 shares, so I was trying to maybe make $1,000 or $2,000, or maybe swing it if possible if it, did start to pick up momentum. But it's exactly like I said yesterday. All else aside, technical analysis, anything else doesn't matter when you got a chart like Bitcoin running 24/7. So I cut it in the morning. It didn't do what I wanted to do. I took my loss right off the bat. One sec, guys. I gotta plug my phone in. Sorry. Okay. 1 second. Let's get all right, let's see here. So here's another scan that I'm using. It says intraday listed scan, but it's not just listed, it's also OTCs. So you can see, I don't know, I don't think that for some reason this little filters window doesn't pop up when I do this. This doesn't have the filters on it, but oh man, that sucks. I'll have to post the filters in the Discord chat, but you can see that this eliminates like a lot of noise compared to the market view scan, which literally just has everything. This is, I think, greater than 9%, under 15 bucks, and $500,000 volume requirement. It also eliminates a bunch of different stock types. So like in my market view scan, it's, you know, the stock types are unlimited. You can't see what I'm looking at right now, but I just pulled down stock types. I've got regular, preferred, ETFs, Class A shares, Class B shares, delinquent, foreign, first convertible bonds, second convertible bonds. And all that is like a lot of these, you know, like you guys know a ticker with a Q at the end means it's going through bankruptcy. You know, if it's tradable warrants, there's a W at the end. Well, there's also this other stuff, you know, there's a G at the end if it's first convertible bond. That stuff you don't ever need to trade. And for the most part, it's not going to pop up on my scan anyways. But you can see the difference between that and this. This, you know, does break it down to a much more manageable list. And you can also see there's just nothing, you know? I mean, there's nothing to trade right now, which is perfectly fine. Yeah, that's equity feed, Chris. Both of them are equity feed. But so I do, you know, and I have a couple scans like that. I have one just for OTCs, and the only real difference there is obviously I'm filtering out NASDAQ stocks and New York and Amex stocks and everything else. But as far as this afternoon, it's now 12:35. If I were looking to really take a position in anything, this, you know, I would be looking now. You know, I like stocks that start spiking at 12:30 or 3:30 Eastern. I don't necessarily like stocks that spike even right when power hour starts. You know, if you get a parabolic at like 3 on the dot Eastern, a lot of times they'll run out of gas by the time 3:30 hits. So timing's always important. You also have to be aware of like a late day sell-off or late day panic even. Like that can happen as well. You just got to be aware of your levels, obviously going into power hour. But I just don't see anything today, you know. Himini, that'll be fun to watch over the next however many weeks. But most likely this will be down, you know, back sub 1 soon. It's probably my prediction. TORC holding up decently. But no real play for me now. You know, you may get some more bounce. This might be the kind of thing where if you get like a weak open, hold 13, and then red green, you might get a really nice move tomorrow. So I'll definitely be watching TORC tomorrow for that exact scenario and not much else. If tomorrow we get a weak open, you know, if we get an open under 14 and it dropped immediately down to 13, I may consider dip buying it, risking to like 1280. And that's how I would manage risk on this trade. You know, I'm 1280. So I got to size in accordingly if I want to trade that, which I may not. We'll see. V-Ray we've already discussed. I didn't want to chase it beyond like any sort of breakout level. And you saw we've gotten a kind of end of day crack. So no real play for me on V-Ray, not closing strong. Not my play. AWX, not my play. I don't know if anyone has a catalyst on AWX or if it was just a chat pump or what. But you know what? I saw AWX yesterday morning. I saw it popping up here towards 3. And I was thinking, like, for sure short. That's all I could think. I mean, for sure one of these 3 days was going to hold it under. The 360 day or the 345 day or the 320 day. All I saw were higher lows, and to me, I'm thinking 3 is probably not going to break. And that's probably the exact reason that this thing did this today, because I wouldn't have been the only one. And I'm long biased. So you had to imagine when this popped yesterday, shorts were just chomping at the bit. So the thing you have to understand as well is, like, just as much as people who are trying to go long are starving for trades right now, so are shorts, you know? If there are any shorts, they're eking it out right now, just like anyone else. Maybe TORC if they found borrows pre-market, I don't know. But like for the most part, shorts are also don't have much to trade. And so when I see them bitching about chat rooms and stuff, and in general, yeah, I agree there, but I also feel they're a necessary evil. Like the chat rooms are they pump stocks up for us to ride the momentum up and down, you know, especially when there's a catalyst, and then you get all the chats joining in, you know, that kind of thing. So to me, this is probably just a scenario, especially since I didn't see a catalyst, but it's probably just a scenario where you had a bunch of people shorting it yesterday, and then they squeezed each other, you know, today and created this breakout on the chart. So that's all that was. You see that 3 hold this morning was super important, and then it ripped. So 3 ended up actually being a pretty damn important level. You know, all these people are kind of shorting 3 based on all the overhead resistance to 350. And up until that point, that was kind of like, you know, big volume days for this stock. So definitely missed that. I did see it yesterday. I saw this. This is what I saw. And then I saw this, and then I ignored it. But pretty strong close, and then a nice 3 hold. So that's pretty interesting. Totally missed it completely. I think Ann was speaking about it in chat. But like I said, market conditions, especially considering market conditions, this chart to me was like a way no-no. So if you missed that like I did, you know, join the party. There's nothing else, guys. I don't see anything else. I don't see anything else going into tomorrow. Thoughts on continuation, CVSI over high today. CVSI, I think, so, you know, I think this is going to keep going. I do. This is good. Like, whether it pulls back tomorrow and tries to retest 2 or whatever this chart's going to do, because I don't know. I haven't really been watching it. I know it likes to pull and then break high day, which it keeps doing. I've mentioned the last 2 or 3 days I've been thinking about getting in on dips, and I just haven't been able to. So yeah, it may continue, but you know, it's like you'll probably get another 20 cents tomorrow or something like that, and then a pullback, another, you know, 20 cents or whatever it's going to be. It's going to be choppy, and I'm just not going to play it at this point. If I had like a 2 average, I would definitely just be holding. Like for sure, I would just be selling probably a little bit each day and then holding a bunch. Like, but obviously I don't, and that's hindsight. Yeah, I saw that news. It's now a quasi earnings winner as well, so it's about to be a breakout, an earnings winner, an uplisting. Like there's a lot of things going for CVSI. No doubt. I just don't want to get caught up in it if there's some sort of panic, and I'll you know what? I'll probably dip by any panic at this point, but I may not get one. And a panic may be 10 cents or 20 cents, so I don't know. Not sure what to do with CVSI. I just feel like I missed the boat already, although we may get a breakout here and a run. We'll see. I mean, I may grab a couple thousand shares into close and average down if I get a dip, but still have a little piece maybe if it keeps going. I don't know. It's the third and fourth green day in a row, you know, so it's one of those things that I just hate doing that. I've trained myself to not buy third green days or like, you know. So we're going to wrap up a few minutes early. Any more questions for today? Tomorrow afternoon we'll resume and we will do like a watch list. We'll do some watch list stuff, and I'll have some other stuff ready just in case. Mike said staff, or Chris said staff perking in the close. Yeah, it kind of is. And it doesn't, I mean, there's a little double bottom going on at 230, but once again, it's one of these charts. It's not necessarily the first green day. Maybe it's trading in a range now. We'll see. Maybe it's trying to head back to 350, but you could risk 230 on a trade like this. Absolutely. If you want to, but I don't know. I was on my other chart. Sorry, guys. But here's the double bottom at 230 on staff on the daily. And here's the perking to close. Still, it is pretty illiquid. I mean, it's done 280,000 shares today. So it's not something I'm looking to trade. $400 the day before, 380. It's not doing like abnormal volume. But it might be the start of some sort of squeeze. I just don't know. Yes, what happened on 718 much better. Clearly. But definitely, you know, real volume. This would be a very speculative double bottom type of positional trade for me, but that's it. I'm going to turn off my computer because I'm not going to be trading any of this stuff going into close. We'll be back up tomorrow afternoon. I'll be in the chat in the morning, and we'll do another market close tomorrow and get into some watch list work. So everyone have a good one. Be safe. We'll catch you guys in the morning.